Hello and welcome to Tabletop 24, and thank you for joining us for another Marvel Champions unboxing. Today we have the introduction of the Spider-Verse in Sinister motives. So, as always, we're a little bit behind the curve on this with the fact that some of the releases get released in different countries as they are at the minute, and obviously the world's still been a bit upside down on shipping. So, apologies, this one is a little bit late, but I have only just got my hands on it. So, let's get straight in there without further ado. So our title characters are going to be Miles Morales, Spider-Man, and Spider-Gwen. So let's get straight in there. Okay, straight away, as always, we have got our campaign book. I'm not going to go into too many spoilers, but as always, it's got the breakdown scenarios with a little bit of flavour going on in the side of that, which is quite nice. Advertisement for other FFG games, some other Marvel canon stuff, and as always, quite a lot of empty space in these boxes, but it's these things that we are really looking forward to, and it's the characters and the villains. So let's start off with Ghost Spider. So I do apologise, it is Ghost Spider, but everybody's going to say Spider-Gwen, isn't it? Let's be honest. Okay, so we're going to go straight in there. As always, we're going to go through these as best we can and just running through a little bit of everything. So we have Ghost Spider. 1 thwart, 2 attack, 3 defense. So as with a lot of the spiders, they've got quite a lot of defense. Hand size of 5, hit points of 10, so average on the hero side. But dizzying reflexes. Response. After you resolve an interrupt or responsibility on an event, ready Ghost Spider once per phase. That's going to be quite nice getting that ready up and go again. And then we have Gwen Stacy with a recovery of 3, a hand size of 6, so again being fairly standard. And an action, choose to either shuffle Ticket to the Multiverse from your discard pile into your deck, or ready George Stacy, limit once per round. So we'll see what that's going to be as we go. So to start off with, let's pick up the George Stacy card. So we mentioned that, so let's see what that brings. So it's a support, and events attached to George Stacy may be played as if they were in your hand. Action, exhaust George Stacy and attach 1 event from your hand face down here to a maximum of 3. So that's really quite nice. So you're going to be able to be picking those up and readying Ghost Spider. Then we've got 3 copies of Ghost Kick. Hero response, after Ghost Spider uses a basic power, deals 6 damage to an enemy. Once per basic power use. So that's quite nice. You can't chain them together, but 6 damage for a 2 cost, that's quite a hit there. 1 copy of Parental Guidance as our event. And as an auto regal action, if your Stacy is in play, attach 1 event from your hand. If he's not in play, search your deck or discard to add him to your hand. It's quite nice, really pulling out that George Stacy there. 3 copy of Phantom Flip. As a hero response, after Ghost Spider uses a basic power, remove 5 threat from the scheme. So really putting on those extra abilities to the basic attacks. And we've got 2 copies of Pirouette and Punch. Hero Interrupt, when a card is revealed from the encounter deck, deal damage to the villain equal to 1 more than the number of boost icons on that card. Cancel that card when revealed effects. So put a bit of hurt on the encounter deck. 2 copies of Web Binding. So it requires a science resource to be paid for it. And it's Hero Interrupt. When an enemy would activate, cancel the activation. If a minion's activation was cancelled this way, deal 4 damage to that minion. So that's really nice, really putting that pressure on and preventing those attacks. And there we have that Ticket to the Multiverse. 3 cost upgrade. Action, remove it from the game, discard your hand, shuffle your discard pile and your deck, draw up to your hand size and ready each Ghost Spider card you control. So it's a 1-shot Hail Mary to resurrect everything from your hand. So yeah, I like the sound of that. It just gives you a final push. Maybe it's just enough to finish out the game before the villain gets you. Then we have 2 copies of Web Bracelet. 2 cost, hero response. After you resolve an interrupt or response ability on an event, exhaust Web Bracelet, draw 1 card. So giving you that a little bit of extra draw. That's going to be quite handy. And we have a protection hero. So we have Silk. Response, after you play Silk from your hand, if you control another Web Warrior, search the encounter deck for a treachery and discard it. Spider-Man, Miles Morales, so obviously we've got the counteract for that. After you play Spider-Man from your hand, stun and confuse an enemy if you control at least 3 Web Warrior cards. Okay, so Web Warrior is one of the big keywords, traits for this series. Spider UK, Billy Braddock. Interrupt. When Spider UK defends against an attack, deal damage to the attacking enemy equal to the number of Web Warrior cards you control. So really quite nice. Got 5 health there, so that might stay around. 3 copies of Bait and Switch. Hero action, thwart. The villain attacks you, remove 4 threat from the main scheme. Quite nice, but it is obviously goading that attack. 3 copies of Jump Flip. When you would take any amount of damage, prevent 2 of that damage. If you pay for this card just using energy resource, remove 2 threat from the main scheme. So soaking up that damage to get rid of some threat. I believe that was 3 copies of Return the Favour. Hero action attack, discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until you discard a treachery, reveal that treachery, deal 5 damage to the villain. Okay, so pulling out some cards from the encounter deck to do a bit of damage. 3 copies of What Doesn't Kill Me. Requirement for aggression or physical resource. Hero action, deal heal 2 damage from your hero, ready your hero. So nice to get that through. Okay, so then we've got a couple of basic cards. Spider-Man Hobby Brown. Okay, only if you control a Web Warrior card. Interrupt, when Spider-Man leaves play, discard the top 3 cards of the encounter deck, deal damage to the villain equal to the boost icons. So we're coming in, doing a bit of damage, and then making more damage as he leaves. Across the Spider-Verse, max 1 per deck. Hero action, exhaust a Web Warrior card you control, search your discard pile for a Web Warrior ally and put it into play. Then choose a player. That player may spend 3 resources of any type to repeat this ability. So really nice focusing on those Web Warriors and obviously using that Spider-Verse thing there. Then we have a copy of our team up card for Young Love between Miles and Gwen. Team up and alter ego action, heal 3 damage for each Gwen, Stacy and Miles Morales. Nice 3, essentially 6 heal for 1 cost, but you have got to be both in alter ego for that to activate. So it's going to be a bit of a difficult. Then we've got 3 copies of our standard energies. A copy of Web of Life and Destiny. Ignore this card's resource cost if you identify it as a Web Warrior trait. Response, after a Web Warrior ally leaves play, choose a player. That player draws a card. That's quite nice. 3 copies of Plan B. And playing it under any control, 1 per player. Exhaust Plan B, discard a random card from your hand to deal 2 damage to an enemy. And just literally pitch damage. Okay, so that is everything from the deck. We are then moving on to the obligation. We have a Word Father. Search your deck, hand, discard pile, and player of George Stacy, set him aside, attach this obligation to him, exhaust Gwen Stacy, and remove this obligation from the game, add George Stacy to your hand. So, as obligation goes, I don't think that's too bad. It obviously takes George Stacy out of the game, but it's probably not the worst one that we've ever had. So we then have the Lizard Minion doing 3 attack, and when the villain phase begins, heal 1 damage from the Lizard. 5. You have to really punch through on him then. And we've got Regenerative Research for 5 threat. When the villain phase begins, heal 1 damage from each enemy. You really need to be getting rid of that quite early on, or you're going to have some very sticky minions. Experimental Injection. Attached to a minion with the most remaining hit points. If you cannot, this card gains Surge. Attached minion gains the creature trait and +4 hit points. Rawr. In Cold Blood, 2 copies of. When revealed, the lizard attacks you. You cannot play events until after that attack resolves. If no attack was made this way, this card gains Surge. So, sort of punishing the spider decks, which are known for playing those protection events. So, got those. Okay. Move straight on to Miles. So again, Spider-Man. 2/2/2 and Champion Web Warrior. Venom Blast special. Deal 2 damage for an enemy, stun that enemy. Spider Camouflage special. Give Spider-Man a tough status card. Confuse an enemy. So he's going to be doing some special abilities as he comes through. Hand size of 5, hit points of 9. Miles Morales, recovery of 4, hand size of 6. After you change to this form, shuffle 1 Spider-Man card from your discard pile into your deck. That's quite nice. Just recycling some cards. 2 copies of Arachnobatics. Hero action, deal 2 damage to an enemy. If that enemy has a stun status card, deal 3 additional damage to it. If that enemy has confused status card, deal 3 additional damage to it. So really hoping to get in with those special status attacks. So 2 copies of Double Life. Change form. If you pay for this card using physical resource, ready your identity. Nice. 2 copies of Swing In. Remove 4 threat from a scheme. If you pay for this card using a silence resource, resolve Spider-Man's Spider Camouflage ability. Okay, so you're going to know some nice stuff there. Web Shot. Deal 4 damage, and if you paid for it using energy resource, resolve Spider-Man's Venom Blast. 1 copy of Genki Lee, so apologies for mispronouncing that. Action, exhaust Genki Lee, draw 1 card. If you are in hero form, choose and discard 1 card from your hand. So, quite nice. We don't see many draw supporters in the hero, so it's good to get that additional out there. Jefferson Davis, as a support, 1 copy. Origo action, exhaust him. Remove 1 threat from the scheme with the least threat. 1 copy of Power Within. After your hero uses a basic power, discard Power Within. Resolve Spider-Man's Venom Blast ability. 1 copy of Defense Mechanism. After your hero uses a basic power, discard Defense Mechanism. Resolves Camouflage ability. And we've seen these before. 2 copies of Web Shooter. So 3 uses, and you can use it as a wild resource. Okay, so they are Miles's specific cards. Then we have a Justice deck, with starting off with Monica Chang. After Monica enters play, search your deck, hand, and discard pile for a copy of the Surveillance Team support and put it into play. Place 1 Snoop counter on each Surveillance Team you control. So that'll be quite nice, building up some of those Surveillance Teams. Then we've got Spider-Woman, Jessica Drew. Reduce the cost to play Spider-Woman by 1 for each confused enemy in play. Okay, really hoping that you're going to be getting out those status cards. 3 copies of Homeland Intervention. Exhaust up to 3 shield cards you control and choose a scheme. Remove 2 threat from that scheme for each card exhausted this way. 3 copies of Global Logistics. Exhaust 1 shield card you control. Look at the top 4 cards of a player deck or the encounter deck. Discard any number of those and put the others on top or bottom in any order. So that's really messing with some of those decks. That's quite good. 3 copies of Field Agent. Uses 3 counters. Hero Interrupt. When a shield ally will take any amount of consequential damage, exhaust Field Agent and remove 1 backup counter from it, prevent 1 of that damage. So stopping those ping damages on your supports. 2 copies of Surveillance Team. Using 3 Snoop counters. Exhaust Surveillance Team and remove 1 Snoop counter from it. Remove 1 threat from the scheme. So we've seen those before. A different version of Agent 13 for Sharon Carter. Response: after Agent 13 attacks or thwarts, choose a shield support, ready that support. Nice. Dum Dum Duggan. 5 health, so quite nice, but he's got 3 consequential damage. When you use one of Dum Dum Duggan's basic powers, exhaust the 3 shield cards you control. For each card exhausted this way, Dum Dum Duggan gets +1 to that power for this use. So it's really quite nice. Really relying on these shield cards. Then we have Ghost Spider. Only if we control a Web Warrior card. Interrupt: when Ghost Spider leaves play, search your deck for an identity-specific event and add it to our hand. Then we have the one, the only Spider-Man Peter Parker. Requirement: must be paid with all of the different types of resource. Response: after Spider-Man attacks or thwarts, choose another Web Warrior character, ready that character. That's quite nice. And we do have another copy of Young Love for the team up. 3 copies of our double energy, double resources. 3 copies of Government Liaison. Exhaust Government Liaison, play a shield card from your hand, reducing its resource cost by 1. 1 copy of Sky Destroyer. After you play a shield card, exhaust Sky Destroyer, deal 2 damage to an enemy. And okay, then we are on to Mars' Obligation. Keeping secrets. You may flip to alter ego form, choose Exhaust Miles, remove it from the game. Discard Genki Lee and Jefferson Davis from play. If neither was discarded this way, this card gains Surge. Discard this obligation. Again, probably not the worst one we've seen, but still not particularly great. Then we have Prowler. When revealed, if you're in alter ego form, give Prowler a tough status card. Okay, not the worst when revealed, but still quite poor. We've got Tracking Prey. When revealed, if you are in alter ego form, place 1 acceleration token here. Really punishing you for being in alter ego. And we have Razor Claws. Attach the minion with the highest printed hit points. If you cannot, this card gains Surge. Attach minions, gain Piercing, and it's +2 attack. And then finally, we've got 2 copies of Slice and Dice. Prowler attacks the player with the fewest remaining hit points, even if that player is in alter ego form. If that attack defeats a character or no attack was made this way, gains Surge. So really even pushing through that attack, even if you're in alter ego. It's quite powerful. Okay, so they were our heroes. And we are going to very, very, very quickly go through the remaining decks, just because I don't want to spoil too much for everybody. Obviously, I want to give some context to what we're going to find in here. So, we've got Sandman with his City Streets, some Sand Clones, Sun Smash. Then we've got Venom. So, obviously, we do have Venom as a hero. Now we've got him as a villain. The Bell Tower. This one, I did find this quite interesting. So, if there are at least 3 chime counters here, flip this card. When any amount of damage will be dealt to Venom by an attack, you may place that many chime counters here instead. And I believe that then ties in into how much damage you can do to him. Now he's angry. Guard the Bell Tower. There we are. Remove each chime counter from the Bell Tower, flip it to its quiet side. So it does have two sides. Yeah. Increase all damage that Venom takes by 1. So quite thematic there. Helping the damage when he's got some noise around him. I think we taught. For whom the bell tolls. Then we've got Mysterio. So Mysterio is after you resolve a boost card during Mysterio's activation, place that card in your discard pile if it has the illusionist trait. Okay. So we're doing some spectral stuff with him. Humongous Hallucination. So we're really facing it. Masterful Mirage. Shifting Apparition. Deja Vu. Fearmonger. And then we're on to Doc Ock. After he attacks and damages, you place 1 threat on each scheme move the active counter to the next villain in the activation order. When defeated, remove 4 threat from a side scheme, 7 threat instead if no other villain is in play. So that is from the Sinister 6 specifically. The Doc Ock, Electro, Hobgoblin, Craven, Scorpion, and Vulture. Okay, so we're looking at the Sinister 6 as a scenario. Interesting. Hopefully that will be a step up from the Wrecking Crew. If you've played the Wrecking Crew, I found it's fairly simple, I think. Okay, then we've got attachments for each of the Sinister 6. Brute Force Barricade, Frequent Flyers, High Flash. Yes, and then Treacheries for them, Partnership of Pain, Surprise. Okay, then we've got a Venom Goblin. Delightful. Hobgoblin and Venom, or Green Goblin and Venom. Just lovely. And then we've got 4 different schemes for Venom Goblin. We Are One, Symbiotic Berserker, Symbiotic Monstrosity, Symbiotic Thrall, Festering Mass, Joyride, Spreading Panic. Definitely will be Spreading Panic. Okay, so then we've got City in Chaos, Rhino, Down to Earth, as a encounter set, Goblin Gear, so the Goblin, Guerrilla Tactics. They're going to be for the 6. Like I say, I don't want to go into too much detail with these, but I will be showing them off so you can at least see them. Some more for the Guerrilla Tactics. Osborne Tech. Personal Nightmare. Evil Doppelganger. Fool's Parade. Deepest Fears. Doc Ock. This is Sinister Assault, Electro, Hobgoblin, Craven, Scorpion, Vulture as an encounter set. Symbiotic Strength, so really boosting the symbiotes. And Rage Symbiote. So if you've seen the Venom Hero Pack, I believe this is the same card. Swinging Assault. Unstable Sentience. Very much unstable Venom. Whispers of Paranoia. So Mysterio. And then we've got Campaign Publicity. Community Service. Snitches Get Stitches. And then we've got some upgrades which we've seen in previous campaigns, and some allies and some other upgrades. So that sort of rounds out our cards from the box. So that completes our unboxing for Sinister Motives for Marvel Champions. If you haven't done so already, check out other unboxings for Marvel Champions or other videos on the channel. Give us a like and a subscribe, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.